Hello, welcome back. My name is Madison, and today we have our family in town for the weekend. We wanted to show them around our new little town. They were so gracious to help us move in a few months ago, weeks, month and a half or so ago at this point. And they've already decided they wanted to make the trek back on down again. And so we wanted to take them to all of the local thrift stores. They are huge vintage people, especially his dad. Actually, his mom as well. Let's be honest. They both love anything vintage and they have a very particular style, and they get a good kick out of any kind of thrift store, vintage store, antique store as such. And so we were wandering around all the stores. There was so much chinoiserie all over the place and so many beautiful paintings. What you couldn't hear that I'm saying right now is the fact that we were talking about what paintings do you like and how do you choose something that you want. And for me personally, I was telling them that I like to pick something that brings back a memory. So a lot of the times for me that often involves travel, and or one of the ones that I have in my office just makes me think of my great-grandmother's property and all of the memories spent out there with her. But all in all, I think we probably spent a good 3, maybe 4 hours wandering around all of the vintage stores in our area. There were so many good finds, but quite frankly, we were still recovering the cost of moving. Otherwise, I probably would have brought home way more than I needed to, especially some of these mirrors. They were absolutely stunning, and there were so many all over the place. I also probably would have bought some of the antique dressers as well, because we need new nightstands, and part of me really wants to use dressers as nightstands, but we will see. For now, though, we'll just keep wandering around the thrift stores and antique stores and see what we find. Something you guys probably don't know about me, or you definitely don't know about me, is I am an avid book reader. And so all of these old vintage books absolutely have my heart. I also grew up in a really big Christmas family, and we found so many beautiful Christmas paintings. And I wanted to take them all home with me. There's especially this one. It was, I believe, what they called a Russian Christmas painting according to the tag. I regret not buying this painting to this day. There were so many very expensive paintings in this antique store, and I believe this one was only like maybe $70. Honestly, that's not cheap, but like for something that brings you so much joy, I feel like it's definitely worth it. Honestly, there was art all throughout, and I'm hoping that maybe it'll just keep on coming in throughout the time that we live here, because there were several pieces I definitely took photos of and had my eye on, and I really regret not buying them because they are since gone now. And then after we left the last thrift store, we walked on over to an antique store that also specializes in some fine art, which is where this marble bust and super ornate desk came from. I just truly love history, and I love imagining what things were like. And one of the interesting things about the exhibit/gallery that they had here was that they would show the pictures of what was actually going on at the time that the painting had been done. So some of them were very much different. One of the paintings is of a woman that's at work, whereas she was actually just embroidering. The next morning, my mother-in-law and I took my dogs for a walk around our neighborhood to go show her everything that's going on, potential plans for new builds, it seems, and then just showing her some of the wildlife we have too. Right before they came, the night prior actually, there were some deer that were running out into that tree line over there. But anyways, we wanted to show them around our town because when they were kind enough to come help us move, there wasn't exactly time for that. And so we took them over to West Point Lake and ran a few errands because they were kind enough to help us take care of a few things at our house before taking them over to Callaway Gardens. My mother-in-law is also quite a garden outdoor person in general. Mostly I think she just loves the plants like I do. And so with Callaway Garden, they have a lot of educational things and plants all over the place, a butterfly conservatory. There was an outdoor market going on the day that we were there. So many educational films and shows and whatnot everywhere spread out too. We were going on several of the trails and ran into one of the owl exhibits, or the Predators of Prey exhibit, I believe is its official name, which is essentially just a bunch of rescued owls and other flying predators. Eventually, we decided we were starving and stopped for lunch. There are, I believe, 3 or 4 different restaurants on or near the property. And so we just stopped at one and got some wraps before taking a few more trails around the park. I believe there's definitely a few places where you can also rent boats and kayaks and paddle boards to get out on some of the lakes that they have. They have one really big one that has some beaches off of it. Then there are 2 smaller ones that I think maybe people just go out fishing on or are there for wildlife purposes, to my knowledge. This was our first time there, so I very well could be getting some things wrong. But all in all, it is a wonderful place. I've heard that a lot of the schools actually go to this as well, and they do some educational sessions and whatnot. So if you have kiddos, I'm sure they would love it as well. One of my favorite places at Callaway Gardens was the Butterfly Conservatory. There are over 1,000 different butterflies flying about in this giant glass dome. And I want to say I think they were all tropical butterflies. I could be very wrong. There are plenty that are released outdoors that are appropriate for that, but there were so many fluttering about. And then in addition to that, there were just turtles and other wildlife scattered about the conservatory, and it was just honestly magical. I probably could have sat in there for a long time, and it made me really wish I brought like an actual camera and not just an iPhone to get some pictures of them. On top of the many beautiful butterflies, the conservatory obviously had a bunch of tropical plants as well. One of the most stunning, in my opinion, being this absolutely massive fiddly fig. And I know that this video does not give a good idea of how tall it was, but I kid you not, I think it was easily probably 30 feet tall, and it just made me really wish I could have something like that in a future home one day, or if nothing else in my backyard. I'm pretty sure this Georgia heat would absolutely kill it though if it wasn't inside a enclosed space that's temperature regulated. And then on the way out, they actually have a gift shop, which I'm not normally a sucker for a gift shop, but when they have seeds for your garden, I am an absolute sucker, and my husband had to convince me not to walk away with one of each. And I can't promise that I don't want to go back and buy them all right now. Following a somewhat brief lunch break, we headed over to, I believe it's Robin Lake and then Cason's Garden to go see some of the tulips that were in bloom at the time, as well as visit that little market day that I told you guys about. Hopefully next time we're here I can do a better job of documenting it and everything that's going on. It definitely changes throughout the season, but all in all, I know my family absolutely enjoyed it, and I want to show you guys a better idea of it as well. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.